And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of New Earth TV Live. So we're going to have another great webcast for everybody today. We're going to start off firstly with Q&A. Okay, so if you guys do have any questions, you can feel free to put that on the chat. If you want to give your questions priority, you can use the YouTube Super Chat via donation. Please remember, no personal questions, okay? Just making sure semi-personal questions and general questions, please. And of course, I'm kind of getting out of the political discussions and the conspiracy discussions, so just kind of keep that in mind when you're posting your question, okay? But there's lots of other topics that we can discuss. So again, Q&A will be first, then we'll be going into a guided meditation called Antar Mona, or Inner Silence. And then finally, we're going to go into distance healing, all right? So if you do have healing requests, again, that'll be near the end of the broadcast, and we'll be doing some healing requests, all right? So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and start off with some announcements.
The world's first spiritual rejuvenation technology in the form of modern everyday items has arrived through Etherics. Etherics offers transcendental healing products that work to detoxify, replenish, and restore you on a physical, emotional, and mental level. The Ether Bed Kit takes the form of a powerful rejuvenation technology that utilizes your own life force energy to restore organs, glands, bodily systems, the energy system, and replenish emotional and mental well-being. The Etherics card decks, the healing code cards, eliminate and detoxify physical, emotional, and mental conflicts within the body. 44 beautifully designed geometrical cards specifically designed to work on the major areas of the body, encouraging natural recovery and increased vitality. The Healing Code cards come in 3 different themes: the body, mind, and energy decks, each with their own specific design to renew and rejuvenate the body. Etherics apparel and accessories that offer comfortable attire and beautiful geometrical and image designs to detoxify, strengthen, and rejuvenate the body. Download our collection of free sample images and cards from our website so that you can witness the benefits of Etherics spiritual technology for yourself. Visit our website now at etherics.co and begin your rejuvenation journey with us.
And of course, we're getting a little bit closer to the time with Adronis through the Mount Shasta experience. This is going to be happening in June, very start of June, so we're a little over a month away. And again, the first day represents a donation-based event. Okay, so it's at the Soul Connections Community Center in Mount Shasta, right? So if you guys are in the California area, the Oregon area, anywhere of that nature, and you're going to be in the Mount Shasta area for June 1st and June 2nd, we can have a very incredible, powerful experience as I'll be in Mount Shasta, not in Mount Shasta, but at Mount Shasta, communicating with Adronis. Now, the event link is in the video description, and you can sign up for free. Again, it's the first day is a donation-based event, but of course, nobody is turned away. Then, of course, day number 2 is at the old Ski Bowl Trailhead, end of Everett Memorial Highway, Thursday, June 2nd at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Then after we're done, we're just going to do a bit of a short hike, or maybe like a short walk, I should say, around the mountain of Mount Shasta and do some group healing as well, too. So it's going to be a really exciting 2-day adventure. So I invite all of you who are in the California area or looking to go to Mount Shasta for June to join me. This is going to be a really exciting experience. It's kind of like my North American adventure before I go to the UK in August for the Stonehenge tour. So this is going to be a really exciting experience. Hope a lot of you guys can show up. It's going to be great. And like I said, this is the first gathering I've done post-COVID, right? So I haven't really had a big gathering like this since maybe about 2020, or early 2020. I would say more on the lines of late 2019. So I'm looking forward to this again. So again, if you're in the area, and if you need more info, you can go to newearthteachings.com. But we'd love to see you there at the Adronis, the Mount Shasta experience. It's going to be great. And private sessions are available, distance healing by donation, private sessions, 3 questions by email, tarot readings, higher self-communication, and if you do want to talk to Adronis, that is available through private sessions as well too. Otherwise, you can check out the distance healing requests, which are also available on newearthteachings.com. And of course, everything is backed up on this YouTube channel on Odysee. Odysee is our backup channel, odysee.com/@newyorkteachings. You can find all the videos backed up here on YouTube on Odysee as well. Okay, and also good news with Etherics is with Etherics we're going to be launching the brand new website on Monday. So there's a brand new website to come. The Taurus bed kits are going to be available on Monday as well too, May 1st. So again, you can check out the website. We have the current website right now, etherics.co, but the brand new website changeover will be happening late Sunday night into Monday morning. So we have a brand new, beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous website. And today is the last day, of course, for the promo code, April 17th, right? Where you can get 17% off all products on Etherics right now. Okay, so it's valid till the end of day today, so get on that. If you want to get a discount on some of our amazing products, that is available right now. You can also check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/ethericsstore. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. But again, brand new website is launching here May 1st, and it's going to be the official unveiling of the Taurus bed kits. The Taurus bed kits are phenomenal. They are wonderful. They're amazing. So again, feel free to take advantage of, again, our promo code today, April 17th. Receive 17% off all products. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. So we're probably going to take about 45 minutes with Q&A. Then we're going to do some Antar Mona inner silence meditation. Then we're going to get right into healing. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and look down the chat here. So hello, everybody. Welcome. Good to see you all here. I see there might be a couple people who are asking for healing requests. I will get to your healing, but healing will be the last thing that we're going to be doing in the webcast today. So first and foremost is Q&A. So let's take a look here. Okay. Okay, looks like we have one question here from Clear Mind. Clear Mind says, "Hi Brad, question for Adronis. What is the driving force of natural evolution? Is it just random mutations and survival?" Very interesting question. I'm sure that's a lot of what modern science believes, but I feel it's a lot more than that. But yes, I will go ahead and bring Adronis in, and he can talk about this question, about driving force of natural evolution. Is it just random mutations and survival? All right, let's take a look at that. So one moment as I bring Adronis in, and we'll investigate this. Here we go. Terra Soul Star Sirius Adronis. We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. We want to thank you very much to the one known as Clear Mind for your question about the idea of the natural process of evolution. Is it all just random mutations and randomness of survival and randomness of coincidence? Well, if you have been listening to us for quite some time, you realize that's not the case. Because in that sense, we are telling you about an intelligent universe. We are telling you that all life is intelligence. It's not just some randomness. It's not just some random convergence pertaining to happenstantial situations where things just happen to evolve just out of happenstance, just out of coincidence, and then at some particular point they die, and it was a complete and total fluke that you exist. It's a complete and total fluke that Earth exists. It's a complete and total fluke that every planet exists. It's a complete and total fluke that every star exists. It's a complete and total fluke that every galaxy exists. It's a complete and total fluke that other dimensions exist. It's a complete and total fluke that energy exists. It's a complete and total fluke that other dimensions exist. It's a complete and total fluke that other universes exist. It's a complete and total fluke that all of creation exists. Do you see how that's not believable? Do you see how that doesn't warrant anything pertaining to science? Because what is science, everyone? It's an investigation to understand how things are. That is not an investigation. That is what you would refer to in that sense as ignorance. It is the failure to understand. When you look at everything pertaining to life, do you not see the intelligence behind it all? When you look at your human body, are you aware of the intricacies, the hundreds of thousands, the millions of inner processes that are taking place within your body right here, right now? Do you think that can be manifested just by random chance? By, as you term, natural selection? That is just a sign of ignorance. Your human body is one of the most sophisticated technologies in existence. It is not something that just falls out of the sky. Look in regards to the natural equilibrium about how your own planet Earth functions, how everything balances one another all together through the flow of nature. That is not just a random convergence of evolution through natural happenstance, through flukes. When you truly observe the living world, you realize that much in regards to these archaic ideas of ignorance, believing that everything is a random convergence, is greatly overthrown. You have to understand that everything that represents the universe, everything that represents creation itself, is by intelligent design. That the body you occupy is by intelligent design. That the mind you hold is by intelligent design. We're not talking about looking at your religious context here, but we are stating that in that way, there are evolutionary processes based upon experience. You have to understand that everything in life is therefore alive, and that through the nature of life, everything does evolve. But it is not evolving in the way that you believe. You see, there are the evolutionists and there are the creationists. And they are both skewed by their own impression of things. But when you actually bring them together and harmonize and see the balance point in the middle between evolution and creation, then you have the true understanding. It's consciousness. It's the nature of how all life is. You have to understand that you are not the only intelligent species in all of creation. The entire universe teems with life. Everything around you lives. We're even talking about the air that you breathe. We talk about the water that you drink. We talk about the land that you stand on. We talk about the fire that you ignite to keep yourselves warm. Everything is alive. Everything lives. And it is that livingness that is divine intelligence. It is not just some random convergence, some random happenstance because somebody got bored and poof, all of a sudden all this happened. There is nothing scientific about that understanding. This is why it's so contradictory to what you term as science. Because any of you that basically follow that would truly be following the most unscientific premise of all. Because there's no evidence of anything representing random convergence. Random convergence is not scientific. That is pseudoscientific. So why are you following it? That is no more different than how many of your modern scientists basically mock and ridicule the idea of the absurdity of religion. Well, basically, we could look at your idea pertaining to the random convergence of evolution and say that that is just as ignorant. because that's a religious belief. And that is completely unscientific. It's pseudoscience. When you're looking at everything just happens to fall out of the sky, a gigantic encyclopedia the size of a continent just fell out of the sky one day, and everything, all life just sprang up from that, and then it just suddenly vanished, and we don't know why we're here. It's just a complete fluke that you're here. That it's just random mutations, that it's just random survival. If you believe that, then you are completely ignorant to the idea about what life truly is. You don't bother to observe the entire environment around you. Isn't that the basis of science? Isn't the basis of science to observe? So what is it through the natural level of observation that would give you the impression that everything's random? What is your scientific basis on that? You don't have one. It's nothing but something that has been contaminated and thrown into the wrench of what science is. Science can be something truly wonderful. It is a part of discovering. It's a part of knowing yourselves. It's a part of knowing the world that you live upon. It's part of the universe, absolutely. But you're not utilizing science by drawing these types of conclusions. They are childish. They are ignorant. It's pseudo-scientific to believe that everything just randomly happens. And you don't know, it's just some random mutations. It's just some random happenstances. Everything's just survival. You're all just a bunch of meat suits, and then at some particular point you croak, and that's the end of you. That is what we would consider to be complete and total ignorance. If you were to basically share that premise to any star civilization that exists, they would consider that particular premise to be that of complete stupidity and ignorance. Because that's not the way it is. Even your own quantum science doesn't even admit that. This goes back into, as we would call, the Neanderthal days of science. It has nothing to do with random occurrences. It has nothing to do with random mutations. It doesn't work that way. You are omitting consciousness. If you do not include consciousness through your own scientific endeavors, you will never even understand science. Did you know that? You cannot disclude science in a way that discludes consciousness, because then it's not science. You're not even doing science by not including consciousness. The reason why many won't work with consciousness is because it's infinite. And they don't want to try and bring forward some type of infinity into their equations of mathematics. But mathematics is not the answer. What is the answer is consciousness itself. You should be able to visualize these things, not with formulas and equations, but being able to visualize the mechanics of reality. Mathematics can't do that. Your own ability to visualize and see the inner workings about how life itself functions would be more closer to the nature of fractal nature. Would be much more closer to the nature of being able to see the insides, the inner workings, the inner mechanisms, the inner gears that are turning that make everything what it is. It's magnetism. It's electricity. It's basically the frequency, energy, and vibration for you to understand the mysteries of the universe from what your own Nikola Tesla told you. If you want to know the mysteries of the universe, you look into energy, frequency, and vibration. When did Nikola Tesla say, oh yeah, all this stuff is just random convergences, it's just random mutations? It's just happenstance. Something just happened to happen, a big flash of light, and then everything just came into being. And it's a fluke. Any intelligent investigator of science would never admit to such ignorance. And this is what you have to see for yourself. If you know that your scientific model is based upon observation, then how about starting to observe the world? How about you understand the natural geometries, the natural life, the natural fractals that come through everything, the natural magnetism that brings life forward, the vibration, the frequency, the energy that makes everything pertaining to life be animated and live. You see, we're not excluding evolution here, but we're also not excluding creation. They're meant to go together, but they are housed together, they are couched together through the nature of consciousness, because consciousness is the supreme. You cannot have life without consciousness. Otherwise, you're just looking at a bunch of dead matter. You have to see that, how am I able to do this? How am I able to do this? How am I able to speak? Oh, well, you have vocal cords. What is it that's powering the vocal cords to speak? What is it that's causing you to be animated right now? What's causing you to live? What's causing you to be able to sit down? What's causing you to be able to stand up? What's causing you to be able to walk? Your scientists won't have an answer for this because they omit consciousness. You see, they do not have an authority in giving you any particular form of information regarding how life works when they don't even know what life is. You are prematurely giving a badge of understanding to a person who doesn't know life. You have to know life to understand how everything functions. You have to know your consciousness. You have to know everything that you are. You have to realize that the body itself is but an instrument, and that you are the very intelligence that makes everything what it is. It's what brings the life force to life itself. This is what you must understand. So, clear mind, we would suggest you reflect on everything that we've shared here. But we will also tell you that when you simply look at life through the idea of a random convergence of mutations and a random convergence of survival and just things happening out of the blue, that is a very unscientific premise. We're pretty sure many of you already understand this, but we also want to let you know where we're coming from. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay, very good. That kind of lays it on the line, I think. Through many, many years of this is basically how a lot of us grew up in school, right? Just believing that it's all evolution and everything's kind of just a fluke, and it's kind of just a miracle upon miracles that you're here. It's kind of just a miracle upon miracles that you're in a body and that you have all these things, and it's beyond stupidness. And I grew up with that, right? I'm sure a lot of us have grown up with that in school, because that's all they told us. Evolution this and evolution this and Darwin this and Darwin that and blah, 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 blah. And it's nothing but a bunch of pseudo-scientific ignorant dribble, right? It's not to say we're discounting evolution, but we're also not discounting creation. We're putting them together because the figurehead above it all is consciousness. Something for us to look into, right? So it's a very good question, Clear Mind. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's go down the list here a bit more. Hello, everybody from New York and from Windsor, Canada. Welcome. Carol Ann says, hi, Brad. I have a question on Ouija boards. I had heard they can allow evil spirits to enter our realm. Okay, well, this is a bit of a broad topic, okay? And I'll try to give you guys an elevator version of it, okay? Guys, an Ouija board is not an evil thing, okay? It's like me basically saying, here, I have a kitchen knife, okay? Now, I have a kitchen knife, and I can use that for preparing food in my kitchen. And I could also use that to harm people. Now, is that kitchen knife evil? Okay. I have a baseball bat. I could go outside and I could play baseball with that baseball bat. Or I could go outside and I can harm people with it. Is the baseball bat at fault? Is the kitchen knife at fault? No. It's the one who wields it. Is the Ouija board at fault? No. It's the one who wields it. Okay? And there are those who are ignorant, who don't know what they're doing when they're performing these practices, working with the Ouija board, basically activating it and putting it together into a particular type of portal that can bring such beings forward. Because it's not the board, it's not the portal, it's the person. It's the one who wields it. Okay? So basically, I'm not here to teach you guys how to use an Ouija board properly. I'm not going to do that. Okay? What I am saying is that you are completely ill-prepared to trying to use something like a Ouija board. We have absolutely no experience. You have absolutely no familiarity with it. Then why are you using it? You should be educated in it. And you should be looking into it so that you can clean your space, so that you can work with a Ouija board, so that what you bring forward through the Ouija board represents much more of a harmony to everything that you're doing. It's a tool. Just like a kitchen knife is a tool. Just like a baseball bat is a tool. Just like my vehicle, my truck, is a tool. I can use it to go from point A to point B, or I could use it to run people down. Okay? Is the truck at fault? No. It's the one behind the wheel. Okay? So again, guys, you have to understand that when things go wrong, so many people blame an object. It's not the object. It's the one who wields it. Okay? Same thing goes in regards to an Ouija board. You need to educate yourself. You should not be using an Ouija board if you don't know what you're doing. You need to go through different forms of cleansing practices. You need to prepare yourself appropriately. You need to harmonize your space. You need to harmonize your surroundings. You want to make sure that if there's people using it together with you, that they are harmonizing themselves, that they are getting themselves into appropriate preparation. It is a portal. You're correct about that. Okay? But again, when you're looking at evil spirits, who is it that's summoning the evil spirits? Is it the board itself? Can the board just magically do this without anybody else around it? No, it's you. All right? So you're the wielder behind the board. When the board goes into those particular ways, it's because you are ill-prepared to use it. You don't know what you're doing. You don't have a clue about what it's about. You haven't bothered to educate yourself. And so you're going to wind up with a disastrous situation because of your ignorance. All right? It's ignorance that makes those things happen. It's ignorance that causes a person to take a kitchen knife and harm another. It's ignorance for a person to go into their truck and start mowing people down. Okay? That's what's causing all of this. It is lack. Right? So when you start to educate yourself well and you work with an Ouija board, you can bring about some very beautiful, divine, loving spirits. You can talk to higher beings and higher dimensions, right? You can talk to the higher aspects of yourself. Absolutely. Or you can completely foul it up because you have absolutely no respect for the tool. You have absolutely no respect for how it works or how to be educated with it, and you blunder everything up because you're the one behind it that's making these things happen. Guys, life is subjective, not objective. If it was objective, I could tell you guys one thing and you'd all be doing it. Has that ever happened? Not a chance. Okay? If it was an objective life, I could tell you guys one thing. You guys would instantly understand my teaching, and then all of you would basically walk away from politics. You would walk away from all these things that basically cause harm to yourself, and it would be done because life would be objective. Right? One thing, just got to say one thing. Okay, everybody, follow Brad. Right? And it's done. But that's not how it works. It's all subjective. Okay? You are sovereign of your life. And it's not for anyone else to come into your life to tell you what to do, how to live, etc. Right? We all give advice. We all give sharing. We all give perspective to one another. But ultimately, it's up to you to decide how far you take yourself in life. Right? So when you're looking at the idea of thinking that I'm going to blame an object because something happens, that's no different than me pointing a finger at any of you and saying, oh yeah, it's all their fault. It's this person's fault because they did this, they distracted me. It's all their fault. No. And basically whenever you feel a person who's doing a constant blame game and saying, oh, it's all because of my parents that did this, or it's because of my friends who did this, and oh, my other extended family, they're a bunch of idiots, and blah, 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 then they're probably the most insecure person of them all. Right? If they cannot accept fault, then basically they are the most ignorant. The ones who feel they are faultless are the greatest at fault. Simple as that, right? A humble person will know exactly that when things happen, they understand the inner workings and they realize that it all traces back. They understand that, they admit that, and they work to correct it. Okay? And that's the nature of humility. But it's not about blaming an outer object. It's not about blaming another person. Okay? You have to take responsibility for your own actions, because when a person fouls up working within a Ouija board and they open a dimension to a hell dimension, and they have demonics coming in, that's the person that's responsible for that. They did not do the work that was needed to work within a Ouija board. Okay? And a Ouija board is indeed a portal system. It's a living technology. It's no more different than the tarot or the oracle deck or the etherics technology, right? It's all living technology. A Ouija board is a living thing. Okay? But it gets its power from you. You're the power source, right? Which means that you can open up the gate. And if you are ill prepared, you will create a great deal of havoc, because you are arrogant and ignorant, not being able to educate yourself and prepare yourself appropriately because of that. It's the person behind the board. Okay? So Carol Ann, I hope that answers your question. Thanks again for another good question too. Good questions so far, guys. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Okay. Okay. So let's take a look at Paul Pell's question here. And Paul asks, "Hi Brad, can you ask Adronis what happened at Sodom and Gomorrah?" So if you guys aren't aware, in the Bible it talked about Sodom and Gomorrah basically being these kind of unsettling places, I guess the best way to put. There was a lot of evil practice in that way, and God said that basically they were going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah altogether. And basically Lot's wife turned around when the angels were coming in and blazing fire to the cities, and she turned into a pillar of salt, right? So we can kind of look into the understanding of the nature of Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? It may not always represent the idea of the literal, as it may represent much more of the context of what it's actually trying to mean in the Bible, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at that as Adronis will come through, and he'll share some interesting insight about Sodom and Gomorrah. Here we go. We thank you very much once again for your question, and we thank you, Paul, for sharing such insight. About the idea of what you term as Sodom and Gomorrah. Yes, they are actual places within your planet, of course, but the reference in regards to their nature upon the Bible is representing how to turn away from the ego. You see? When you're looking at the idea of Sodom, it would really be no more different than looking at the nature of sulfur. When you're looking at the nature of Gomorrah, this too represents, shall we say, base elements. It's almost like an alchemical formula. And that basically when you're looking at these particular alchemical formulas, they represent much more of a lower base function, which means they can be harmful, they can be quite toxic. But when you are looking in the nature in regards to, shall we say, attempting to experiment with what you do not know, expect disaster. And that's what can represent the idea of Sodom and Gomorrah. It can also represent emotional attachments. It can also represent lust. It can also represent fornication. It can also represent everything, as we talked about, pertaining to the base elements, that also represent the base elements of your lower being. And that is what they are attempting to bring forward in this form of example as a codex contained inside the Bible. That the Bible is not just talking about the literal historical event about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. It is more so about the idea of the destruction of the ego, and that when you attach to it, you retain yourself back into those elements. Therefore, the nature of sodomization would represent the nature of Lot's wife turning into a pillar of salt, looking back, because not being able to fully move on past the ego. Once you are learning to transmute yourself, to go through personal transfiguration, to align yourself into higher order. So think of Sodom and Gomorrah as the gonads, as the nature of lust, as the nature of sodomization. Gomorrah, gonads, Sodom, sodomization, semen. The gonads, the genitals, lust, sexuality. That's actually the hidden meaning between these two references. We've talked about the nature of alchemical elements, and they can also play a part, but more ideally is looking at this in regards to lower base functioning. The nature of lust, the nature into giving into carnal desires. And that when you are seeing God destroy that, you're seeing yourselves moving up out of that alignment. You're going out of the lower nether planes. And you're moving into the higher planes. Therefore, the angels coming in and laying waste to everything that represents the destructive ego. But when Lot's wife turns around and looks at what she sees, there was still the feeling of trying to hold back pertaining to that vibration. Rather than being able to move past it, she herself becomes, as it were, sodomized, turned into a pillar of salt. Sodium, Sodom, sodium, Sodom, sulfur, yes. And that this is basically what took place in that form of analogy. That if you are not able to move yourself past the degree of the lower nether planes pertaining to the gonads of lust and therefore carnal pleasures, then you will get caught up in its own destruction. You will be frozen into the idea of everything that it represents, preventing yourself from advancing. It will take you with it. It will sodomize you. It will bring you into the nature of being suspended, being caught up into the nature of the lust factor, being caught up into the nature of the carnal desires. It will consume you, just as it consumed Lot's wife, to turn her into a pillar of salt. Sodium, again, also representing sulfur. But in this particular case, that's what it represents. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah is basically a telling about how you can move past the lower regions, the nether regions of your own lust, of your own carnal desires, to move up into the higher planes. So that in that sense is being abolished. It's being transcended. It is an inner alchemical parable. That is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. It is not really meant to be used as a historical event. It's a tale. It's a parable. It's a code being used to help you move past your own particular degrees of lust and carnal desires to come up into the higher order. Let the higher order deal with that as you move forward upwards. That's the idea of Sodom and Gomorrah as a parable, in the nature of what the Bible itself, as an occult book, is trying to teach you. All right? We thank you very much. All right. So, Paul, hope that gives you more information and insight in regards to Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? Very good. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Caroline says, Brad, I hope you can eventually come to the northeast of USA or southeastern USA. It would be great to see you. If you guys are holding an event and you want me to come, then just send the ticket. I'll be happy to come see you. I'm planning on doing more traveling down the road. I'm not too sure if a lot of you are aware, but basically the ability for people to fly to the States without any problems, without any restrictions, is coming May 11th. Okay? So effective May 11th, this is actually on Reuters.com, that the House of Senate has already announced that pretty much all the restrictions of COVID is going to be dropped, and people will actually start being able to do airplane travel to the United States anytime after May 11th. Okay, so that is happening. I actually just went down to the States a couple of weeks ago as well too. I was able to go across the border, no problem. I had no problem. There was no talk of any COVID, There is no talk of injections or anything of that nature. From Canada to the United States, I had no problem going down, right? I've heard others were able to do it, and I wanted to see for myself. I just went down to get some gas and came back up again. Had no problem. It was easy peasy, okay? So I would say that everything pertaining to the COVID situation regarding the border is pretty much done now. Right? And so again, air travel is going to be available anytime after May 11th, okay? That article was on Reuters.com. I was looking at it a couple of months ago, and it says anytime after May 11th, that will be coming into effect. People will be able to fly to the United States again without any particular types of COVID concerns. Very interesting. So that's exactly why I'm coming to Mount Shasta in June, okay? Basically going to drive down there, but it's going to be a great trip. This is why I invite you guys. Come with me, right? If we have my friends in the United States, great. You know, California is like a second home to me. Come on up. Let's talk. Let's meet. Talk to Adronis, right? And I'm also going to be doing a little bit of traveling around Mount Shasta as well, too, for a few days. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. So let's go down the list here a bit more. So this one here is from Alina. Alina says, I would like to know if all incarnations of the souls are in the now, and what point the highest shelf decides to modify the experiences as the soul reach consciousness, progress, and work on new goals. It doesn't really work that way, Alina, okay? The only thing that's holding you back in life is yourself. It is the prematurity for us to realize that we are all interconnected together, okay? It's a very heavy veil that we have put upon ourselves. We have basically darkened ourselves to the point that when we have gone through incarnation again and again and again, and yes, everything is simultaneously coexistent, as I've talked about. I've always said that incarnation is simultaneous incarnation, right? We can call it reincarnation for the sake of convenience, for the sake of continuity, okay, that's fine. But in actuality, it represents simultaneous incarnation, okay? All of your lives are available to you right now. Well, Brad, if that's true, and all of my lives are available to me right now, why am I not able to get a hold of them? Because of the veils that you've put inside yourself relating to darkness, to ignorance. And that's all I'm referring to about darkness. It's ignorance. You've turned off the lights. You've turned off the lights all around you pertaining to your subtle bodies. You've turned off the lights all around you pertaining to your astral body, pertaining to your emotional body, pertaining to your mental body, pertaining to your vital body, pertaining to your akashic body, pertaining to your karmic body, pertaining to your etheric body, pertaining to your causal body. All the lights have been turned off. You've turned them off. Why? Because you favored the material world instead. Your eye has been closed, and instead you're relying on these two things. These have become your eyes. This has no longer become your true eye. And you've blackened it out. You've darkened it out. You've put all these thick veils around you, and you're shutting out everything that represents the subtle, and you're only deciding to work with the outermost layer of your body, which represents the material body. Because you're working with that, because you depend upon the material body, that's all you have to work with. And you have to go inside, and you need to start flicking the light switches back on again, right? And you start flicking the light switches back on again, these veils start falling away. And when you learn to go into your center, when you learn to surrender, and you come into your center, and you continue to work with that day by day by day that passes, continuing to intensify, amplify, live inside the center, you will be aware of every single lifetime you have. You will be aware of everything that represents life. Now again, guys, the key to that is humility. Okay, I know you guys think that you need to do it some sort of way. No, brother, there's going to be some other way. There's going to be some sort of magic practice where I can be completely unhumble and I can be a complete and total party animal and I can just enjoy these cities as they are, these psychic prowesses as they are, and I can still just be my own naive, egotistical self. And if you do that, you would destroy yourself completely. Okay? These inner abilities that you have come from within the subtle bodies, not the physical. Okay? You have to unlock them from within the subtlety of yourself. You do not unlock it here in the physical body. When it comes through, there are activations that take place in the outermost shell that represents the material body. Okay? So again, yes, DNA changes. Yes, activations take place within your body, but it's not through the physical body that these activations are happening. It's deeper within. It's deeper in the subtleties of yourself, right? It does not come through the idea of, I just have to do some type of physical thing. I just need to do this all day. And then the cities will come. I'm still just going a mile a minute with my thoughts, but hey, I'm doing this, or hey, I'm doing this, or hey, I'm doing this, or hey, I'm doing this. I'll do some mudras, I'll do some Om chanting, but my mind will still be monkey mind. I'll still have an animalistic consciousness. I'll still be lusting after things. No, it's not going to happen. Okay? You need to clear all of that out. You need to go past all of that. It is the most humble that receives the nature of these cities, the nature of the psychic prowess, the nature of you understanding yourself, the idea of you being able to look into the entire tapestry of your soul's blueprint so that every lifetime is looked at. But that comes from someone who is dedicated to their own humility. It does not come from one who is running amok in their life and thinking that they can get all these psychic abilities and still be a jerk to the world, and still be a jerk to every single person they come in contact with, and still be a jerk to themselves, and thinking that they're going to be able, and I'll get all these psychic powers, I'll get all these psychic abilities, I'll be able to know all of my lifetimes. No. Because that's what's preventing you from getting all that, is because how you are. You're in the animalistic mode. It's exactly like what Adronis was just talking about with Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? The carnal desires, the carnal pleasures are the reason why your lights are out. Because if I have carnal desires, what is that telling me? It's telling me I'm focusing on the physical body. I'm focusing on the material plane. If I'm worried about money, what is that telling me? I'm focusing on carnal desires. I'm focusing on the material plane. I'm stuck inside the physical body mentality. If I'm worried about family members, I'm stuck in the material plane. If I'm worried about world events on this planet, I'm stuck in the material plane. I'm stuck with all of these things because everything pertaining to physical matter matters to me. If I'm so very deeply concerned about the matters of physical matter is all I'm experiencing, and these are the only eyes that I can access. And that's exactly why you guys don't get psychic prowess. And that's exactly why you guys don't recall your lifetimes. You get little glimpses here and there, but many times we just dismiss that as imagination. Oh, that couldn't have happened to me. There must have been some sort of logical course about that. And we try to physicalize it. We are too addicted to this shell. We're too addicted to physical matter. We're too addicted to the material plane. And we do no particular form of work to work on bringing stimulation back to the subtle bodies. Because it's the subtle bodies that tell you everything about your soul. It's the subtle bodies that tell you everything about every single lifetime that you have experienced here and now. It's not tomorrow, it's not yesterday. Everything is simultaneously coexistent here and now because you've never experienced a yesterday and you've never experienced a tomorrow. Never. You've only experienced right here, right now. Anything that represents anything outside of the now is not the real, because you're looking at either memory or imagination. I remember yesterday. No, you're experiencing it right now, right? But if I get clinged on to that idea of a memory, then I'm attaching myself to thought, and I'm living in what I term as the past, because that is what I give credence to, is the nature of the past that is emitting itself from memory. Memory, thought, and time are one and the same. Okay? If I'm worried about what the future could bring, then I'm completely fixated on imagination, on hypotheticalism, because nothing has happened, and so therefore it's imagined. Well, if this happened to me, brother, then this must happen again. Well, there's your imagination going haywire. And there's you in your carnal desires still attached to physical matter, because you're unwilling to get out of the material body to advance yourself. Because that's what it takes. right? It's the ability to go within. It's the ability for you to develop the inner alchemy within yourself. It's exactly what the Bible has been trying to teach everybody. But everybody keeps thinking that the Bible is a historical manual, and it's not. Nothing about it is hardly historical at all. It's a instruction manual teaching men how to go back to God. That's what the Bible represents. A lot of the occult books, the holy books, are basically doing the same thing. How man can let go of all of his, her baggage, clearing it out, working on themselves so that they can return to godhood. They can return to the supreme Godhead that they are. It's teaching you how to go to God. It's teaching you how to be the Godhead of your life, of your reality. You will only ever experience I. You will only ever experience subjectivity. There's never a point where you are not I. Right? We can look in the idea of a false I representing the ego. We can look at the true I representing the true self. But it's still I. Right? But we get too fixated on the material plane. And your lights are out. And you need to go within. You need to work with your center, right? Adronis is always doing this. Go to your center. Be in your center. Surrender to the center. And just bit by bit, slowly, the lights now start to dim, and they start to go all the way up. You're taking the dimmer switches, and you're turning them up bits at a time. Okay? Now, again, it really just depends upon the attitude of the person. Right? A person can hear me saying these words and saying, oh, bro, that's a bunch of crap, and I'm out of here. Okay. Then they stay with where they are. Or there's those in that sense who are actually doing the inner work, who are actually surrendering, who are going into their center. And basically, as I've talked about, now here's the thing I've talked about as well too, when I look at the release ball method, when I look at prana transmission technique as well too, releasing is one way. Okay, there's another way. Another way is absorption. Okay, if you basically feel frazzled, if you feel in that sense that you're very much in a state of frustration, of anger, sadness, of fear, whatever it may be, and you learn to surrender to that, what you want to do is you want to take that surrendered energy and you want to put it in your center. You want it to be absorbed. What this is going to do is when you actually absorb, because what releasing does, releasing will disperse the energy. It'll disperse it. There's nothing wrong with that. We can disperse energy. That's fine. But rather than dispersing energy that's released, how about we absorbed energy that gets transmuted and returned back into the wholeness of the center? What this does is increase your vital magnetism. Okay? See yourself as the center. Here I'm wearing the Under Armour shirt. Here's the center right here. Okay? Your center can really be anywhere. Your center could be your heart. Your center could be your solar plexus. Your center could be your navel. It doesn't matter. You're just going into the center of singularity, the source center point. Right? You can see it as white light. And so when I'm surrendering to something and I'm completely neutralizing it, the energy is still there. And all I'm doing is I'm putting it in the center, put it to center, put it to center, put it to center. Even with sexual alchemy, right? If you're performing certain sexual alchemical practices, and rather than trying to disperse the energy, put it to your center, put it to your center, put it to your center. This is actually what gives you longer life. This is what increases your memory. This is what increases your vitality within your physical body. This is what helps you to actually develop yourself more intuitively. Is you're taking that energy and you've humbled it and you've brought it into your center. You are accumulating all of that energy that was once tarnished, and through the nature of surrender, it's being neutralized, and now you're just putting it into the center of yourself. You're putting it into the source point center, and that is absorbing itself into you, and you can feel your aura expanding. I've been doing this, right? You can feel your aura expanding, and the first reaction I get is I'm smiling like crazy, okay? Because I can feel such a charge that's coming into the source point center. And if we do this with all of our problems, where I surrender to it, I gather that neutral energy, and I put it into the center. And I can feel it right now, okay? And what that's going to do is that is going to expand you in ways that are absolutely profound. You want to go into your subtle bodies, that's the way to do it. Bring everything back to the source point center. You don't have to do anything for the source point center. The source point center brings everything back into centeredness, brings everything back into perfection. Okay? Therefore, if you want to disperse energy, you can disperse it, right? There's nothing wrong with releasing at all, right? I still encourage at times for people to release. But this is just the next step. Rather than releasing things. A lot of teachers will talk, oh, just release. Don't get me wrong, releasing is good because I've taught releasing. Okay? Releasing is very, very good. But rather than releasing, absorb. Absorb into your center. Right? So I'm going to surrender to it, neutralizing it, and I'm putting all of that energy, that raw energy, I'm putting it into my center. And now it's going to help me to become a lot more aware of my subtle body. It's going to help me to be a lot more fruitful in longevity, in memory, in activity, in vitality. It can heal the body. It can do absolutely everything. It's source consciousness. Okay? But what you're doing is you're charging yourself up. So you are basically neutralizing everything with surrender. You guys remember Shaogong? Remember what I've been teaching about that, right? We're going up here, surrender, and rather than releasing, we're just going absorb, 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 absorb. And we're feeling that energy coming right into our center. And we get charged up. And it feels incredible. Okay? If you guys want to add a few extra years to your life, that's exactly what you do. Okay? You absorb. You concentrate that energy into your center. And your source center automatically perfects the energy. It brings it into harmony because it's the non-dual center of yourself. Okay? It's what we call the source point center. We can call it singularity. Okay? There's a lot of different names for it. You can even just call it the center. Right? Put it into your center. Don't worry about physical location because then again, you're just getting too much in the mind. Just put it in your center. Put it in your center. Whatever the center is to you, put it in there. Okay? It can be the heart. It can be the solar plexus. It can be the navel. Okay? It can just be a door of white light that's right here, right in the center of your chest. Put it in there. Okay? Surrender, absorb. Surrender, absorb. And absorb it and just feel it. Go ahead and do that with me right now, guys. Feel something that frustrates you right here, right now. Whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Okay? Now I want you just to go in and surrender, surrender, surrender. As you feel it getting neutralized, right, as you finish the Shaogong, just take your hand, absorb, absorb, absorb into the center. And you feel it, and it's wonderful, and it's amazing. It enriches you. It increases your lifespan. It increases your longevity. It heals illnesses. Okay? It will bring you much more closer to your subtlety, your subtle bodies. Okay? So Alina, I went pretty long in regards to your question, but it's something I think was very important that we needed to share about that, okay? So that's the whole idea, guys. Everything exists in you right here, right now. And it's just a matter of being able to work with everything that represents the carnal desires, represent with everything that represents the frustrations and the sufferings of physical life, surrender to it all, put it into your center. And now you're going to start opening up the tapestry to your subtle bodies. And now you're going to start working with humility because you're able to humble everything that has ailed you. You bring it into harmony. And it's the most beautiful thing there is. All right, that's my recommendation. Okay, we're going to take one more question, then we're going to move on to the meditation, then we're going to move on to healing. Okay, let me take a look at one more good question, I think, that we'll see here. Yeah, Margarita just commented here, I've done that, Brad, and so much happened afterwards. I asked my guidance what happened, and the answer was that now I own everything that belongs to me. Quite amazing. Everything is already yours, right? Everything really is. Like when you look at everything, it's all you. It's all God, right? That's the key of the matter here. Very good. Okay, I think we'll end with Dia's comment here. Have we moved off Earth into a realm/universe? It's It's a bit of a challenging question to answer here. Is it D? Yeah, DEA. Yeah. Have you been moved off Earth into a new realm or universe? Well, I'd say the answer is both yes and no. Okay. But it's not about moving into a new universe if we're thinking that we're physically bilocating ourselves into some other particular universe altogether. No, it's that we are moving into something new, but it's not the idea of a physical migration, but certainly a spiritual one. Okay. Certainly an energetic one, certainly a subtle one. Now, if you guys have been reading a lot of Dolores Cannon's material, she talks about what's known as the splitting of worlds, right? Adronis has talked about it as well too, right? Where the idea that you have two Earths splitting here, okay? Basically, when you're looking at the new Earth that's coming together, that's in a dimension, right? That can be new to us in that way of understanding the physical. But it's not about the idea of migrating ourselves into a new universe, okay? It's more so in the idea that this is a spiritual migration of moving into something of a higher frequency, okay? So moving into a type of migration of sorts, but not representing a physical location shifting in that way. But Dolores Cannon talks about this other physical Earth, and in a way it is physical, but it's not in this dimensional plane, okay? And I'm not too sure if she's ever mentioned that or not. It's not in what we would refer to as a third density complex plane, okay? It would represent much more of the astral plane, okay? It is a physical Earth, but again, the ones here in the third density cannot see that other particular Earth, okay? That Earth is practically invisible to them. Now, I know because I've gone to this Earth and I've visited it a couple of times. It's very beautiful, okay? There may be some of you who have also had invitations about going to this new Earth and seeing it for what it really is. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's an absolute paradise. It's wonderful. It's majestic. It's beautiful. I've had dreams going there. I've even done some astral projection going there as well too. And it is phenomenal. It's a beautiful, gorgeous world, okay? So that is what we would refer to as the fourth density Earth or the new Earth or anything of that nature. But even this Earth on the physical level is going to evolve, is going to change. She's going to be shifting, but nature itself takes time. Okay, as much as we would love to feel like it's the tortoise and the hare, and we want the hare, right, to let things explode and expand and move into something truly beautiful. No, nature is the tortoise, okay? And the tortoise is not hasty, and the tortoise is not egocentric. The tortoise takes her time, and she's just basically putting one leg ahead of the other, slowly going, and through that progress you see everything changing with each step that's taken. That's how nature works, okay? She works slowly. She evolves slowly. And humanity is like this. Come on, let's go, let's move faster. Come on, hurry up. Let's do this. And the Earth is just doing this. Shh. Just listen. Just listen to my heartbeat. Listen to my pulse. Listen to how every step that I take, everything around me grows and changes and evolves in its own divine, natural pacing of humility. Okay? And that's it. We're that speedy little egocentric hare that doesn't want to slow down, that wants to see everything at once, that wants instant gratification. That too is a carnal desire. That too represents attachment to the physical plane, attachment to the physical body, attachment to the physical environment. We want everything fast. We want instant gratification. We want instant stimulation. Material possession. Okay? So when we're looking at the nature of the new Earth, that is awarded to those who are basically doing their own inner work to move forward. Like I said, I've talked to quite a few people who have also seen the new Earth at the same time. It is certainly available to a lot, but it's not available to everybody. Okay? It's kind of like you need to have an invitation. That new Earth is by invitation only. I know a lot of people don't like it when I say that. Brad, I should be able to go there anytime I want. No. You have to be of a certain calibration. You have to be of a certain frequency. And the people that I've talked to are basically doing their inner work, right? It's not just about Brad, I'm meditating. Guys, meditating isn't inner work. Okay? Meditation is not inner work. It's a tool, right? It's a platform that's helping you to get there if it's used properly. Okay? A lot of people don't even really know how to properly meditate. Okay? Oh, I'm meditating every day. What do you do? Oh, I'm focusing on all these things and all these things. No, guys, no. That's not inner work. Okay? That's using meditation as a platform to try and get what you want. Right? You're basically using meditation for lust-based purposes. That's not true meditation. Okay? Even the Indians, even the yogis have talked about this. That true meditation would be the closest thing to what we would know as dhyana. Okay? That's absorption. Okay? We're moving into the absorption of being. Okay? A lot of people don't know how to meditate at all. And they think it's just so simple. I'm just going to go ahead and use my meditation and I'll do these visuals and I'll get what I want and stuff. All you're doing is you're working with manifestation practices. Right? You're using a meditative platform to get manifestations happening. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do that, then that's okay. But that's not meditation. Okay? Meditation is the ability for you to go into absorption. It's an absorption. It's helping you to clear away the falsities so that you come into the truth of your being. And that is where the process of meditation takes you step by step into that. We have dhyana, we have samadhi. Even before that point, we have dharana. Even before dharana, we have pratyahara. We have sensory withdrawal, right? We go into all these different aspects of yogic practices, right? Of going into the Sankhya philosophy, of going through the nature of pratyahara, of going into dharana, of going into dhyana, of going into samadhi, right? And being able to move much more into that process that would represent a true meditation. Anybody who bellyaches about meditation is basically because they're not doing it, right? And the nature of meditation really comes down to absorption, right? It's basically the idea that you're using an object as a template, but you are basically closing in on that object and just coming beyond the object into the true absorption of the divine. Okay? Hardly anybody actually meditates. Hardly anybody. Very few. Right? We look at these courses online, oh, we'll teach you how to meditate and get all you desire. No, guys. That's not meditation. Okay? That's manifestation practices. That's working with the mind. It's neuro-linguistic programming. Neuro-linguistic programming is not meditation. Okay? We're working with stimulants. We're working with binaural beats. We're working with all these different things. Neuro-linguistic programming. We're working with subliminal messaging. No, guys. NLP. It's not to say that that's a bad thing. Okay? If you guys want to do NLP, you do NLP. But that's not meditation. Okay? Meditation is going beyond all of that stuff. Okay? It's being able to identify what is false, letting it go so that you come into the absorption beyond the object, so that you are absorbing the divine within you. You're absorbing union. You're being union. So like I said, you're coming into the center. What's the center of a hyperboloid? What's the center of the flower of life? Right over here. Okay? That's the source. That's singularity. Okay? That's the point source. That's where you want to be in meditation. If you are not doing that, you are not meditating. Okay? That's the whole idea. You want to go into absorption. Absorption is the key to meditation. It's not just the idea to contemplate. Okay? That's a false idea of meditation. Meditation is all part of the platform that's enabling you the ability to go into the absorption of union. Okay? If you're looking at this symbol right here, the Vesica Piscis, right at the center, here is the source. That's what meditation is bringing you into. And there will be a point where you're no longer meditating, but you're just being. Meditating is just, it takes you as far as it can go, and then there's no more effort. And now you're just in beingness. And through beingness comes absorption. Okay? That's the whole idea. So, as much as I don't like to admit it, hardly anybody meditates. Right? When we look at all these things, but what people are putting up through visual guided meditations, not meditation. Okay? NLP. Neuro-linguistic programming, mindfulness practices, manifestation practices. They're fine, but that's not meditation. Okay? It's the ability to go quiet, It's the ability to completely keep the mind quiet. You are keeping the mind quiet. You are staying very still, and you're going into the surrender. And through the surrender comes absorption. Through the surrender comes beingness. Through the beingness comes union. Through union comes the eternalness that you are, the infiniteness that you are, knowing that you are Godhead. Okay? That is meditation. Okay? Very few people do that. So, it's the idea, guys. This is just what I had to realize as well, too. Is back in the early days, I was doing that stuff, so I was doing visualizations, I was doing meditation. No, guys, no, Brad, it's not meditation. Okay? That's not what it is. You're playing with the mind. You're dinking around with the mind, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can dink around with the mind all you want. That's not meditation. That's playing with mind. That's playing with neuro-linguistic programming. That's playing with your thoughts. You can play around with your thoughts. That's why you have thoughts. Go ahead and play with them if you want to. But if you really want to be serious and you really want to go deep and you want to know who you truly are, omnipresently, omnipotently, omnisciently, to know that you are the supreme Godhead, you have to actually meditate. And what you're doing isn't meditation. Okay? I had to have that realization as well too. So I had to learn myself. All right? Anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on now. We're going to move on to Antar Mona. Okay, and then we're going to do, I think we're just going to do a group healing today because I don't think we have time for personal group practices. So we're going to get into group healing. So I was kind of going deeper into Q&A today. But it's fine because we had some really great discussions. Okay, but we're going to do a group healing after Antar Mona. Okay, so what does Antar Mona mean? Antar Mona means inner silence. So I'm going to be taking you through the step-by-step process going through Antar Mona so that you can reach that state of inner silence. And when you're in that state of inner silence, that's you moving much more deeper into actual meditation. Okay? So let's get ourselves nice and relaxed, nice and comfortable. Let's make sure the spine is nice and straight, making sure you're comfortable, right? You can either be seated on the floor if you want to. If you're cross-legged, that's fine. Or you can sit in a chair, whichever you feel is appropriate. Okay? And just keeping your hands with the palms facing upwards on your lap, okay? Just as you may not see because I'm out of shot with my hands, but my hands are just upwards, okay? But I'm just going to guide you through the Antar Mona process. So what I want you to do right now is just go ahead and close your eyes. Spine nice and straight. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. And now I want you to be aware of your body. I want you to be aware of the stillness within your body. And we're going to perform a body scan now. And I want you right now just to be aware of your toes. Being aware of your feet. Being aware of your ankles, and just make sure that they're being nice and relaxed. You are completely relaxing them as you are aware of each body part. Being aware of the shin bones, being aware of the calf muscles, being aware of the kneecaps, the knee joints, the thighs, the buttocks, the hips, the pelvis, nice and relaxed, letting everything be relaxed as you're aware of it. Being aware of the spine, where it's nice and strong, it's not too tense, but it's supporting you in strength. Okay, being aware of the sides of your torso, the back, the upper chest, the upper back, going to your fingers, being aware of your hands, being aware of your wrists, being aware of the forearms, the elbow joints, the upper arms, the shoulders, the neck, nice and long, your facial muscles, your cranial muscles, the nose, the eyes, the mouth, the ears, being aware of the entire body, being aware of the entire body. And I want you now to be aware of the sounds within your environment. I want you to be aware of the sounds that are closest to you. Be aware of the sounds that are the closest to you. That sound also includes the sound of your breath. But just going back and forth between each sound, not sticking, not attaching to one particular sound, but just be aware of the sounds that are closest to you. And now I want you to extend your awareness further and be aware of the sounds that are furthest from you. Be aware of the sounds that are furthest from you. Note that the sound of silence is also a sound. And now I want you to be aware of every sound that is closest and furthest from you. Be aware of the sounds within your entire environment that are closest and that are the furthest from you. And now I want you to be aware of your body. I want you to be aware of the physical body. I want you to be aware of how your body touches you. Be aware of how it feels that clothes are on the body. Be aware of the touch of the clothes on your body. Be aware of the structure of your body, of how the physical structure touches you. Be aware of the entire structure of your body and the touch sensation that this body provides you. I want you now to be aware of your breathing. Breathing in through both nostrils, breathing out slowly through both nostrils. Be aware of how the breath enters your body, how it goes in through the nostrils, and how it goes into the lungs, and how it leaves the body as you breathe out through the lungs, out through the nostrils. Be aware of how the breath touches you as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And now I want you to be aware of the thoughts within your mind, where you are observing the thoughts as an uninterested spectator would. That you are aware of the thoughts that are coming and going, but there is no attachment to the thoughts. You are simply observing the thoughts as they come and as they go, not attaching to them whatsoever. Just let them come and let them go. Not getting involved with their stories, not getting involved with purpose, not getting involved with the drama of the thoughts, but just letting them come and letting them go. And just being the observer, be the witness of your thoughts as you observe them now. Just be aware of the thoughts as the passive observer. Be aware of the thoughts as a witness. Just being aware. And now just let go of all the thoughts, letting all the thoughts disperse. And now I want you to focus on creating a thought that represents an unpleasant situation from your past. Whatever the unpleasant situation is of your past, let it be this thought, but you are not attaching to it. You are not being involved with its story or its drama. You're simply just witnessing this unpleasant thought from the memory of your past. Just witness it. Just observe it. Do not involve yourself with it. Just be the witness of this particular thought. Let there be no other thoughts that come in. You are simply observing this one unpleasant thought. Just be aware of this one thought, not attaching to it. Just be the witness. And now just let go of that thought, disperse the thought. And now creating another thought, a happy thought, a pleasant thought, a thought that you feel joyful with. Go ahead and create that thought right now. Something that brings happiness and joy to your heart as you think of this one single thought. And just stay with it as an observer, not attaching to it, just witnessing it as you observe this one single pleasant thought. Just be aware of this one pleasant thought. And now letting go of this thought, dispersing this thought. And now we come into Antarmona. We come into the inner silence, letting your mind be completely still, letting your mind be within the inner silence, simply being aware of the Chittakash that represents the mind screen that you see behind your eyelids. I want you just to stay in that blank state, that inner silent state, for as long as possible, for the duration of this exercise. If by chance any thoughts come to interrupt, just disperse them as you have before, and work to remain inside the inner silence, the Antarmona of the Chittakash, the mind screen that you see behind the eyelids. Stay here for as long as you feel you can, for the duration of this exercise, now. Just be aware of the inner silence, the Antar Mona. And taking a slow, deep breath in, slow, deep breath out. And just be aware of your breath now. Being aware of your body now. Being aware of the environment and the sounds within the environment. Being aware of the stillness within your body. And just very gently starting to move your fingers, rotating your wrists, bringing your hands together and just rubbing them together until you feel that warmth through the hands. Place them upon the face, over the eyes. And just give your face a gentle rub. And just returning back into your natural state of being. Letting the breath flow, letting gentle movements of the body take place. And this now concludes the Antar Mona exercise. Namaskar. Okay, very good. Well done, everybody. How was Antar Mona for you? All right. So, like I said, when you're going through that exercise of Antar Mona, right, where we're being aware of thoughts, right, then we disperse them. We're being aware of an unpleasant thought, we just observe it, we disperse that. We're being aware of a pleasant thought, we observe it, we disperse that. And as soon as you come into the inner silence, now you're moving into true meditation. Okay? It's when your body is still, it's when your body is silent, and you are completely surrendered just to witnessing the Chittakash, okay? Which again represents that mind screen that's at the back of your eyelids, that dark screen when we close our eyes. That is Chittakash, that's the mind screen, okay? And when there's absolutely nothing on it, right, you're completely in that state of observation. You're moving into true meditation, that's dhyana, okay? We go beyond dhyana in that sense. We're simply coming into the state of absorption. We're coming past any particular form of recognition of identity, recognition of personality. You're coming into samadhi. Okay? When you're coming into samadhi, you're simply just aware. You're simply aware of everything that you are as the true self. Right? So it's moving, it's going past that cusp, where you're at the cusp of the mind and you're just moving beyond that. And that's going into samadhi. Whether it's Savikalpa Samadhi, whether it's Nirvikalpa Samadhi, whether it's Sahaja Samadhi, right? There's quite a few different types of Samadhi states and different levels and phases of them as well too. But that's you moving into that silent state. And that's you moving into absorption, where you're not seeing yourself as your personality consciousness, but you're seeing yourself as pure consciousness. That's Samadhi. All right? Okay, so everyone, we're now going to go ahead and move on into a group healing. And this will be the final part for our broadcast today. So, like I said, I don't really have time to do some personal or individual healing segments today, but I will certainly do that next week. I wanted to spend a little bit more time on Q&A today, and we had a really great Q&A, so that was great. All right, so I'm just going to teach you guys a simple technique for group healing. All right, so we're also going to do Shao Gong, okay, just as I was teaching before. It's very simple. Like I said, it's an ancient Qigong practice. Okay. We use it in Qigong quite regularly. A lot of different types of Qigong use this. Right? So I'm just going to go back as far as I can so you can see me. Right? So I want you again, for men, placing your left hand on the navel, right hand over top. Okay? Women, right hand on the navel, left hand over top. Okay? So right now I just want you to do a body scan. I want you just to scan your body. Okay? And I want you to be really honest with yourself. Anything that you feel is there, that you feel is uncomfortable, right, that has been there for you for quite some time, I want you to detect it. Okay? We're not moving it around or anything, it's just kind of like we're aware. As we're doing our body scan, we're just aware of where these areas are. And it's almost like they're highlighted within our mind. Okay? And all we're going to do for the group healing practice today is we're just going to do Xiaogong. Okay? And we're just going to clear it away by absorbing it into the center. Okay? So we're going to do surrendering, and we're going to clear it away by absorbing it back into the center. So now that you have scanned your body, I want you just to feel your center, wherever it is. It does not have to be at a specific spot. Just feel where your center is. This is your source center point. It's like Adronis when he's doing this, coming into your center. Okay? I want you to be aware of that center. That center is in the center of every cell. That center is in the center of every chakra center. It's in the center of every acupoint meridian. It's in the center of every atom. It's that center, that source point center. And I want you just to feel the essence of that source point center right now. Okay, now that you have done your body scan, you're aware of these areas. Anything physical, mental, or emotional that you have detected in your body, just be aware of it. Because we're going to surrender to it, and we're going to put it and absorb it into our center. So I want you just to watch me doing it 2 times, and then we're going to do it together. Okay, so moving your hands up as you inhale, coming right to the top of your head, slowly exhaling, feeling to yourself, surrender, 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 surrender. As we surrender, placing our hands back onto the navel, and I want you to feel everything that you have surrendered going into your center. Okay, if you want to guide it with your hand, you can. Just bring it in, putting it into your center. Absorb, 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 absorb. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. Okay, bringing the hands up, inhale. Right to the top of the head, exhaling, surrender, 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 surrender. Going to the navel. Okay, if I need to guide that with my hands, just absorbing it into the center. Let the center take care of it. You don't have to do anything. You're just taking the energy and you're putting it into the center. The center takes care of the rest. Okay, so let's do that together now. We're going to do it a total of 3 times. Okay, so bringing your hands up, inhale. Exhale, surrender, 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 surrender. Placing your hands on the navel. Taking that energy now, if you want to use your hand, you can. And just putting that energy into your center. Absorb it, absorb it, absorb it. And you can feel it happening. Okay? Let's do that again a second time. Inhale. Exhale slowly. Surrender, 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 surrender. And bringing that energy into your center. Transmuting it, bringing it home. Bring it into the home, bring it into the Godhead. Bring it into the source. Okay, one more time together. Inhale. Exhale slowly. Surrender, 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 surrender. Putting your hands on the navel. Guiding the energy with your hand if you wish. Putting it into the center. Let it be absorbed. Don't give it another thought. Just be neutral as you are performing this. And relax. Okay? So, that is all it takes, my friends. That is all it takes. And we're using something as simple. Getting cords caught in between my chair here. So we're using something just as simple as Shaogong, right? And that's basically helping you to bring all your energies back into the center after you have surrendered to them. So when we're surrendering, it's no more different than if I have a pen right here and dropping it on the table, okay? You're letting go of every particular form of identity aspect surrounding that energy. Physical pain, in majority sense, is happening in the body because you're not willing to let go of something, right? This is why we're chronically ill. We're chronically ill mainly because we're holding on to something that hurts us. And because we're unwilling to let that go, because we have a lot of fear, because we have a lot of anger, because we have a lot of sadness, because we are too attached to the physical world, that's why it remains. And when you're doing this in Shaogong, you're surrendering to it all, you're completely cleaning the slate of all the energy that's there, and now you're taking all of that neutralized energy and you're putting it into your center and you're absorbing it, right? And now you feel incredible, right? So once you start feeling that incredible absorption of energy coming into your center, feel it, really feel it. And if you keep doing this more and more and more, you're going to expand, right? You're going to be like this balloon of bliss. And it's going to feel absolutely amazing. You want to keep doing it, okay? So what I'm teaching you here, guys, is a very, very simple inner practice, okay? What I've taught you is an inner practice. What Antar Mona is an inner practice because that complements true meditation. And then going directly into surrender, going directly into samadhi because you can take it even further, okay? Same thing with Shaogong. You're surrendering everything. You're bringing that energy and you're surrendering it into the absorption of the center. That is true inner practice, okay? Inner practice that does not involve identity is true inner practice, okay? We're not trying to feed the ego. We're not trying to get a big head and feel like we have to get all these things and fulfill all these desires. That is not meditation, okay? True meditation is working with the true I. It's working with your stillness. It's working with silence. It's working with surrender, right? So once we go into that point of surrender, we're no longer meditating, right? Here's meditation, here's surrender. As soon as you go into meditation that's bringing about surrender, meditation ends. And all that remains now is surrender. All that remains now is beingness, okay? That is the inner work. That's the inner practice. It is not neuro-linguistic programming. It is not manifestation practice. It is silence, okay? That's the key. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today for this episode of New Earth TV Live. I will be back on Monday morning. I'm going to be doing a webcast for Etherics on the Etherics live stream channel. There we go. This is the one. So again, you can join me on youtube.com/@EthericsStore. I'll be doing a live broadcast as we debut the brand new website and, of course, the Taurus bed kits as well, too. So remember, take advantage of this promo code today, April 17th. This is the last day that it's valid. Get 17% off on etherics.co, all right? And again, you can follow also on Instagram and Facebook as well, too. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Also, don't forget that we also have the Adronis event coming up this Sunday as well, too. Let me see if I can find the poster for that. Do I have it here with me? Adronis event. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay, I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So again, transmissions from Adronis will be happening this Sunday. I know I have to fix the date on this, but it will be happening this Sunday on April 30th. Another wonderful Adronis transmissions from Adronis. More Q&A on all kinds of topics. You can also ask him personal questions as well, too. So join us this Sunday, transmissions from Adronis. And the link is in the video description. You just click on that link because the events are connected to each other. All right. So feel free to join me for transmissions from Adronis this Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. I will have Killian as the moderator again. And I'm looking forward to that wonderful interaction with you guys and Adronis. Thank you, guys. Blessings to you all. Be well. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaskar. And may it be well with you. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to New Earth Teachings on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can do private sessions with me, and also etherics.co. And through Etherics, you'll be able to pick up your Healing Code Cards body deck, your mind deck, and your energy deck through Etherics. You will also be able to pick up the Etherbed kit. That is also on Etherics as well. Not to mention that you'll also be able to pick up some apparel and accessories that is also available on Etherics. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Namaskar, and may it be well with you.